So how'd you guys get involved with the project? Can I ask that, Michael? How'd you
Well,
come?
I'll start because, I always get hired first.
Right.
Um, my agent told me about the project. I was not a Marvel or Netflix. I didn't see the series on Netflix. I wasn't really a big Marvel fan. Not a fan, but just I wasn't a I of course know Marvel and but I wasn't like a super fan. And I was approached about it because they were looking for a new, very grounded series. And that's kind of what I've been doing in the past. And I had a great interview. It was really such an exciting concept but I was a little concerned that I wouldn't get it because I wasn't the Marvel
Right.
go-to, you know. And it turned out that it worked and I got hired. And what I was looking for and what they were looking for was a crew who were like me, who were not super fans, who could bring a fresh eye and a new look to the series. And, you know, Becca was my first and only choice.
Mm.
And
That's always nice.
she is, she brought so much of what the show needed.
Yeah. I mean, I
Thank
think
you.
that's really refreshing to hear, first of all, that they didn't keep within the family because a lot of like bigger producers or bigger production they stay with the same people. And then once you're in there, you're like, it's like a cult. It's like they don't
Yeah,
like you out. They
it's a
don't like in, they don't
testament.
like
It's a testament to, the intelligence of how Marvel creates things is that they purposely went out of their way to look for people who had done features
Mhm.
and or people who didn't fit the mold, because as the show is called Born Again, they wanted it to really feel like, okay, we're in a new place. And New York, they wanted New Yorkers. They wanted it to have the vibrancy and energy that New York has.
It definitely has that. It definitely has a lot of realism too with that BB cam and like the going around and seeing like the grittiness of it. And I think like regular people. That was one of the things I was like, oh, this is like following like regular people and how the character Daredevil and that they're affecting these people and crime and like their way of life. So I thought that was really interesting, that take on it. Um,
Yeah, the BB report does an excellent job of grounding the
yeah,
world so you believe you are really in this place.
yeah,
And it's a really good contrast to the superhero element,
yeah.
the suspension of disbelief.
It's a weird superhero. Daredevil's kind of like a everyday man. I don't know. I almost don't think of him like a superhero. I thought of it more as like I'm watching a good. I didn't really feel like I was watching Marvel because there's sometimes they're so big and they're so out of like belief that this seems more like you were saying, like more grounded and everything. I thought that was a really nice take on everything and Daredevil. So
Yeah.
Becca, you were the one and only choice, so you really had no choice here. You had to take the job.
I had to take the job, absolutely, and it was an honor and
Why not?
really it was terrific. I learned so much and just being able to work with Michael and um, help bring his ideas, find the things and go through that process was really
Mm,
inside. I learned so much. It was great. It was really, really great. And the collaboration together with the two of us, it was so much fun. We would just sit down and have, I'd always call them riff sessions where we would just like throw things out and talk about it and put together. We had this huge board in our back room and we would just pin up pictures and inspiration. And it was one of the best collaborations I've ever had. And I'm so grateful to have been able to do that.
oh, that's so nice. It's so
Yeah, it
nice.
is.
Well, and we made a decision, early on that we both like paper and we both like
hmm
tactile. and our vision board was what Becca was just talking about, a giant wall in the office where we would just take references and pin them up and fabrics and colors and move it around, kind of like a central design command,
That's a good way to put it.
or board,
I mean, I think research, I mean, I'm on a job right now and like my research period's kind of over. Now we're buying things and now it's like, and I always feel like, oh, really like that. I love that stage of the process.
Yeah, it
Moving
was
into
super.
reality.
Yeah, it was super fun with the mayor's office and city hall. It just like, we really researched the transition through time of his office and Gracie Mansion and picked different parts of the eras of design from that and made it look like ours,
Yeah.
which is true. It was very true and super fun to do that.
I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna share my screen right now, but how was it working with the DP in this?
Mm,
Like, is that
Hillary's.
because I mean, obviously you had pieces that were like in darkness. Like sometimes his whole room is in darkness. So
Mm.
I mean, that's something you really have to collaborate on. And some of the fight scenes are really dark and
Yeah, I mean, sometimes to our dismay, you know.
yeah.
Yes.
'Cause it's
Well,
not like we're
I mean, I'm definitely
designing.
gonna ask about that because you do these wonderful sets and then none of the lights are on. So
Yes, hello. Yeah, I mean that's always perpetually a problem, but you have to design. Becca and I would go to great lengths to add details that the camera will never see.
yeah, but
And
we
the
knew that.
actors experience it, and that
Yeah.
makes it a better performance. But and the producers walk in and the crew walks in and everybody goes, wow, I
Yeah.
feel like I have just been transformed into this world without lighting, without effects, without atmosphere, without actors. You just already feel like you're there. That to us was the bar we always tried to hit, no matter
Mhm.
what the character was, what the set was, because that's just our kind of gold standard anyway. And we made a pact in the very beginning of working together that even if we had 2 cents, we were going to strive to, create the the most nuanced vision for every set. But that said, and when you watch dailies, sometimes you're like, hey, there's a whole there.
Hey, where'd my second? But you do open the show opens in this room, which I think is fantastic because you don't know where you are,
Yeah.
but they've got beautiful paintings on the wall. You've got great lighting, and I mean, and it's monotone in the sense, except for the paintings coming out. So you get a sense of like, who are these people, and what are they doing there? I mean, what was the inspiration for this? Is this a basement? Like I could never really knew where we were here.
That's good.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that is good.
Okay.
And this was one of our trickiest ones just to get it right because um I think a lot of people had different ideas of what this was supposed to be, and we did a lot of it evolved a lot, and the outcome I think was really terrific.
Yeah.
It was scripted as a warehouse, and we were really focused on trying to have this become not just another warehouse set, which is
Right.
usually when you read warehouse, it's like a placeholder.
It's huge too. I
It's
think
Mhm.
huge, and normally it's going to be like, oh, rundown warehouse, rough space. This is the beginning of this is our first view of what the revitalized port is, and nobody knows really what this looks like. And we wanted it to feel unusual And so we ended up actually going to an art storage facility,
Oh, nice.
which is what this is supposed to be. It's where her gallery, she stored all this artwork, and it's called a Freeport. And the idea of the Freeport is that everything is like kind of duty free, and you don't have to pay taxes on anything.
Mm.
Um, you can get away with a lot. So and the corrugated metal is really important, but this was just a raw space.
I really like that material because it plays well with the light and you get the variations and I love those circular lights, the ones on the sides too. They're really great.
That was a Becca and I early on put that into the rendering and said, okay, we need to define the space. Um, and the directors said, no, 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 we just want some fluorescent fixtures, something really basic. And we had to do a little arm twisting, said, trust us, it's going to look great. And they did come up to us at the end and say, after they shot this, said,
Yeah,
thank you so much for
looks
doing
great. Yeah, looks great. Um, this is a build. The law firm is a build, correct? Yeah.
that.
Yes.
It's a beautiful space because you have so many materials in here and you play with the glass and the brick and the huge windows. Were you were you always thinking like we're gonna have a view with this? We're gonna like bring it like this type of architecture?
Yeah, a lot of what we talk, we're dealing with a sight impaired person in his sets, his law firm, his apartment. And so texture, like Michael would say a lot, it's not like he's walking around touching everything, nor is anyone else, but we want to be able to see that there is thought from Matt's
Right.
world in the design of his space. So that was a lot of what we talked about a lot.
And the idea that his world has sweeping views of the city that he's left. This is his office is in Brooklyn and his home is in Brooklyn. But both of those spaces, the idea that he's got this incredible view that he will never see, and it helps reinforce his disability.
And I
Um,
didn't think of that. That's a good
And
one.
and also his leaving leaving the superhero world and fighting
Right.
evil through his legal endeavors.
I love all the glass in it too, because you're giving such depth and seeing the other parts of the office when they're talking and everything. And I was like, oh, I did think about like, is it glass? Because maybe he can see a little bit and maybe he's seeing some shadows. Like was there I don't know. It's like
really was to create a lot of layers.
Yeah.
Again, when you're thinking about sight is, you know, always diffused some way, and through panes of glass, through layers of things, the idea, like the idea of lenses. Uh,
mhm.
so a lot of these panes were purposefully textured and
I can
semi-transparent.
Mhm.
like over
So you
here, like the texture you gave with them, like the beveled glass you
the
have.
beveled glass, and what happens to a figure behind that when they walk is it's sort of like if you were vision impaired, you
Oh,
would see a shape, a shadow, something that's familiar, but you wouldn't be able to make it out. And that was the idea, not that any of this is is talked about, is it's just something that the viewer can feel.
right.
Mhm.
What was the inspiration for like art pieces? Because I did really love, I mean, the art behind him is
Mhm.
great. And then there's this piece on this back wall that I don't think I ever saw close up. But what is your inspiration for the art and the sculptures?
I
Becca?
had I had pulled personal favorite artists of mine, and there were several, and these two stood out to us the most. Vicky Sure, that's her art in the big this, yeah. Um, it it's like Matt sees in some way, and we don't really know how that is. And we wanted to have visually, perhaps like a feeling behind it
Right.
that it was from him. And the other art in that front room that you don't see as much, Hildebrand, Catherine Hildebrand, she does she does mathematical equations
Oh,
overlaid with these florals. It's so beautiful and so layered and textured, and you know would be something that Matt would want the people that are working with him to feel and see. And
yeah.
that's how we went about with that.
There's also one other component to it, which is just visually, like the both of the pieces and a lot, basically everything. We used some of Becca's photography also. Is they are the pieces in the conference room somehow because of dots. It
Oh, right,
feels
yeah.
braille.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and then the other pieces feel they're landscapes, but they're fuzzy
Okay.
as if they're out of focus. And you look at them and you go, well, these are abstract, but they're also landscapes. And so again, it's like playing with vision, the
Mhm.
idea, you know,
And
think
reflection.
yeah.
How long did you have for prep on this?
I was thinking about that earlier. I was like trying to remember. I think we had like 8 weeks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I had longer, of course, but
Right.
they were, it was really I will say that even on season two, Marvel or whoever makes those decisions um was really smart about giving a lot of prep.
Oh, that's
Um
nice.
yeah, because we had a chance to really refine what we wanted, what the intention of the direction is. And before it
Mhm.
got crazy, when you're just like going, we had a chance to really zero in on what we wanted and collaborate, which, as you know, you get to a place when I don't see Becca for a week.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we're she's picking out things and I'm doing things, and all of a sudden, if you're not in sync, beginning, you're going to be surprised,
Yeah.
and that never happened for us.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
And how many stages did you have? How many builds did you have? You have this. Oh, I was
Uh,
gonna. But you have
There were
this, and then the Gracie Mansion, and then the
Hmm.
courtroom,
City Hall, the
City Hall.
courtroom.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Matt's apartment,
Matt's apartment. Yeah.
and then his rooftop.
Oh, yes. I was gonna ask about that too. It's beautiful up there. Like the skyline for it is beautiful.
Yeah, the rooftop was really fun. We used it
It
for a
was-
bunch of different rooftops.
Yeah, it was really fun.
This was the other sculpture I was gonna ask about. This one back here.
Yeah, I'm blanking where it was from. There's two from the same artist in there, and I sorry, can't remember them.
It's a really simple, beautiful, abstract piece.
Yeah, it's wood,
Yeah,
wooden
it
too.
stands out really nicely in the space. I was really drawn to that. I really liked it.
And that's another, the fact that you mentioned that it's wood is with Matt, we wanted to create this big contrast with Wilson. And
Mm.
everything, you know, even though there's metal in Matt's world, there's a lot of wood, there's a lot of brick, there's a lot of warmth.
Yeah.
You associate brick with warmth, especially if it's a warm color. And so Wilson, you don't see any brick. You don't see
Here's
any,
Wilson.
it's yeah. It's grays, it's blues, it's cool.
Very cool.
All the grays are on the cool side. And we really wanted this to for it was important for Wilson to feel in this new place that he's out of place.
Mm.
Mhm.
This is my wheelhouse. I love like president, like I love all the formal, the federal. I'm all in on this. And I'm was like, look at those tassels. Like
Yeah.
all of that.
George Krivabach, who was one of my assistants, did all the drapes, and he's a king of them and did an awesome job.
Is this your version of Gracie Mansion, or is this replica? Because I'm unfamiliar actually with this office.
This is City Hall, the
This is
mayor's
City Hall.
office,
Mayor's
and
office.
it's we've studied it and researched it, and it is very, very close to
It's
the
close,
actual.
but we definitely had to riff on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we took inspir I would say it's heavily inspired by.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not, but it's not a replica for sure. Um, and you know, it has a little bit of Oval Office, a little bit of any of those really formal federal buildings that it had to convey um, that this is the seat of power
Right.
and history.
It's very stately. I mean, you've done a wonderful job giving this presence of the stately surroundings for him and making him feel like a bigger man, I think.
Well, and strangely, he feels like a smaller man in this,
Yeah.
because he's so out of place. I mean, his desk is a little smaller than you would imagine. One of the things that was important to us was to have the furniture. Wherever Fisk is in his world, the furniture is a little small,
Hmm.
a little demure, so that he is always like he can't ever get comfortable. And he's such a big guy.
Yeah, he's
So,
such a big guy. I don't think that was hard. Like, because he's a
no,
tall, big
no,
dude.
right.
He was very involved in that also. Like, he really wanted to make sure whatever he was sitting in did make him uncomfortable. And oftentimes I would have a few for him to try out
Yeah.
just so it worked right for him.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. I mean, again, it's these aren't the clearest photos, but when you watch it, you're like, oh, this is a really beautiful room. The details and all the columns and the windows are fantastic. But yeah.
Um, one of my favorite things is like one day we didn't talk about this, but one day, before we started shooting, two cannons showed up on the window ledge. And it was like, oh, and they're pointing at him, and it's just the perfect touch, the perfect set deck touch, which has become iconic in the show. We kept that for the next season, and
Oh, that's
it's like those kinds of moments, decorating moments, are so important
yeah.
and can do so much, and nobody notices them, which is cool.
Well, I think you notice those cannons. I mean, yeah,
Well,
they're
you
so much.
notice it, you feel it. You're
Yeah.
not, you just feel like, oh yeah, that's just what it is.
Let me see what else. I have this also. I love the desk too. And I also like all the interactions. I think you have like two doors in the room. So you have that circulation coming in and out, which is nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a beautiful room. This guy's a jerk. This dining room
I
is
love it.
fantastic. This
Yeah.
dining room. So this is a build, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. This is Gracie Mansion, and this was heavily influenced. Like I toured Gracie Mansion early just to see what it was, and I kind of felt like if we could shoot there and not do anything, it would be perfect. So
Mm.
we this room we literally lifted exactly. And of course, we had to get our own um, mural wallpaper from France, and we had to
Mhm.
do our own curtains. And it's not exactly the same, but the details and the furniture. But the kind of idea that they would be sitting in a room just like this with this shot, and it tells you everything without a word.
Yeah. I mean, it's their whole relationship is right there on the screen of like
Yes.
I was so happy that it was a wide of like because there is some sort like there one angle I got of his office and then this wide. They keep him more wide shots and with Matt, I think everything's a little tighter. I was wondering if that was discussed with you
Mm.
guys.
I think the idea, to be honest, it wasn't discussed,
Mm,
but I think the intention was to make him feel a little more lost.
right.
And because Matt is more intimate, and it just feels like the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But this room is fantastic. How long did it take to get the wallpaper? Was it like
Oh my God.
It
Becca,
was, it took a long time. And, you know, they size it in different sizes, and we had to go back and forth many times, and different shades and tints would come, they would
oh right.
FedEx us samples, and we would look at them and try to put them in the right lighting. And it was a process, but so worth
Oh
so
yeah.
it.
worth it.
So worth it. And I knew it was going to be worth it the minute that we found it. I knew that we had to do that.
Yeah, it's
And they had to size it exactly to what the set was.
Yeah.
It was like a month of back and forth with these people,
mhm.
doing renderings and mock-ups and everything and ordering it. And we order it. And a last minute change came in from the producers that they wanted to lower the ceiling.
Right.
They
Oh,
I
wanted,
forgot
they
about
wanted
that.
to make sure this really felt like he's claustrophobic. So it threw everything into a panic. And I think we resized it, but then
Yes.
we sent it to them and then they didn't resize it. So it came and
That's right.
we had to cut off
Yes.
it.
ah,
Oh,
But anyway,
it worked.
never known.
creating trauma.
Always. Isn't that the one time you're like, look, I'm pulling out the no card. It's a no. I think we can't redo this. Like,
I think that the one thing that Becca and I agree on is that like yes is the answer.
Oh,
Um,
totally. I
but what
loved
I
it. I love
what
yes.
what I usually say is like, are you like when the request comes in or like a schedule change and you're like, are you asking me if we can pull that set up or are you telling me that the set is being pulled out? Because I don't really think I have a choice in this. I think you're just telling me it shoots tomorrow. Like,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
There's always that.
Yeah.
But I think the idea that we can do anything
Yeah.
is like we say, look, this is what it's going to cost.
Yeah. Time and
These are the
money.
limitations, and
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think we said no to those kinds of things. I
no,
mean, you just make it happen.
yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's the magic of our departments is making it happen. I mean,
yeah.
everyone else is filming our magic and
And I will say,
Correct.
this is just a shout out to Becca and her team, is that I would always be throwing curveballs of like coming up with an idea the night before something because I had it in a dream, and consistently they would just go, "Okay, we can make that happen," and you know that's
I love it. I love Michael's challenges.
yeah.
I do. I love them. And they're always right on the money.
Well, sometimes so you do all this research and you're there, and it's not till you see the space or you see like, I really thought that was going to work, and if we have time, I'd like to change it. There's always
Yeah.
because if you have the minute before it shoots to change it, we do it because we want it to be
Yeah.
right. We care. So we want those changes and we want those last minute, like, yeah, I guess you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
As, as long as it's done with, compassion and caring and in good intention and not like it's just a dumb
Yeah.
make it happen. I don't care what,
Yeah.
we all are human beings. So
I love this courtroom. I love all the wood and the detail, and
That's a location,
I love it.
but we brought in the furniture
we did a
and the
lot.
art. We
Again, we did a lot to the walls. We painted it. We were
Oh,
here.
right, there's a mural. Yeah.
Yeah, the
We did like
mural. Do I have the mural?
a whole, those murals were there, but we ended up having to repaint. The colors in here were pretty awful.
Right.
And
And we built the jury box, no? Didn't we do that?
oh, the jury box was there.
Oh, right.
Eagle there?
But
He's pretty.
we
No, I rented that from Newell.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is
it this is
massive
one of
and
those
heavy.
places that
I
looks like
bet.
it doesn't do anything, but we did a lot.
Yeah.
I was surprised that this was the location because you were in there so much. That's a
It's really
lot.
pretty cool, yeah.
His
Mm.
apartment. So, what is your inspiration for his apartment? You said he's in Brooklyn. You're giving him views that he can't see, the poor thing.
The idea for me was, this is an airy, like this is he's on top. You always associate Daredevil with rooftops,
Hmm.
and as in this show, he's not really Daredevil yet. Um, I wanted him to feel like on the, he can see everything. He's on top of a roof. He's a successful lawyer. He really is, he's again like surrounded by glass and views that he can never see.
Right. And then you give great depth through the it goes right into his bedroom. I'm assuming that's his bedroom back there. I don't think we went in there.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And Becca's like, incredible. It's like the level of detail on set deck in here. Um, it's,
Yeah, I mean, we made Braille books that are in his shelf and um a lot of personal items. We started this season, Michael, remember, she lives with him
yes.
and then it changed. So we had to completely sort of reimagine what this set was when that change happened. And to think about how a visually impaired person lives, it's do they use lighting? Do
Right.
they? And we did a lot of research up front on um, what specific things are in the home. How do they cook? How do they eat? How are things set up? And it is very specific, and we made sure we honored that and respected that. And Matt Charlie was very insightful with things that he would like to have as well. So it was a great collaboration all the way around.
And one of my favorite things is Becca said she wanted to have a scented garden on the
Mm,
window ledge with
yeah,
herbs. So,
herbs.
so, he would, I think there's even a scene when he will go and like take an herb and smell it.
Yeah, when he's cooking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that wasn't scripted. That was just a beautiful inspiration from Becca.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we'd have to take the herbs up to the Teamsters office because they had great sunlight. And so the Teamsters office was filled with beautiful herbs, and Courtney, our coordinator, would miss them and take care of them and
Oh,
talk to them, and then we bring them back down to set. It was fun.
it's hard to keep plants alive on set. It's hard.
Oh my gosh,
The
yeah.
greensman job to make all those plants, water those plants, and give them light, and haul them in,
Yeah.
haul them out. And but our plant, like plants, like you're saying, like that we take care of. I'm horrible. I never take home a plant. I'm not good with it. It'll die in my care. But that, yeah, it is. That's a beautiful detail to give him.
And there's things like a continuing motif is braille and dots. And so the knobs for all of his cabinets are cylinders and
Hmm.
circles. And the lights all have some, little dots. And it's all stuff that we know. Nobody else would notice, but we know.
Oh, I really like those lights. I didn't think about the braille, but I was like, oh, it's perforating light. Maybe I was going
Hmm.
back to like the giving it some dimension and everything. They're really pretty.
They are, they are, they are. I remember searching for those lights because Michael was like, I really would like a ceramic light with holes in it. And I was like, wow, okay. Mm, luckily we found them. I was so happy about that.
Um, then you get down and dirty when he goes to meet the Punisher,
Mm.
which is always, I feel like I love dirty sets. I love clutter and dirtiness and like all of this. Was there a part of bringing in that film's was it a film or a TV series that he did and then bringing that in, or is this like your take?
This,
It's a little bit of both in how I feel about it. And John Barenthal and I think he and I spoke 5 or 6 times, and he would send me. He was very collaborative with it, and but I mean, this is us, Michael. We started it.
Right.
yeah, I mean, the space itself, is all designed, not really. I mean, it's somewhat based on an actual basement space that we shot in for some of the corridor stuff. But
Mm.
this is one of those spaces, weirdly, that every single person goes into, and it's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's a dank basement space with a bunch of pipes in the corridor, but everybody just loves it.
Yeah,
There's so much
yeah,
character in all of the dressing and like he's living here, and I mean he's got his hot plate, he's got a million TVs next to some guns. I mean, like,
so
he's got
It's
his
how we're
murder
all going to
board.
be living soon.
I love a murder board. I used when I was on Bones, we used to do them all the time, and the string and like the post-its, and I miss doing. I kind of miss doing murder boards. I'm gonna be honest, but like, I love.
yeah, not all murder boards look right either. I mean, it's
Yeah,
and we spent a lot of time on this one, and to make it not look like
that's a good one. It's a good
a
one.
red string, murder board.
Yeah. It looks
Well,
like an older murder board, and then he keeps adding to it, which I think
Yeah.
it's not a new murder board, which is nice.
No, and there's a lot of everything on there too is something specific to his search.
Did you have people like sending you letters? Are they doing close-ups on your on your board yet?
I
I
don't
haven't
know,
I
Right.
I haven't gotten anything yet, but
but
Never.
John Bernthal is like an intensely
He scares me.
detail-oriented actor, and
yeah.
everything we knew from the get-go that everything had to be up to par and really detailed. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
scares me a little. Shane, was he Shane from Dead Walking? Um, I also I also love the lighting in this, and like we're kind of underground, but it's like greenish, and like especially when they first meet and he has the axe and he's like gonna hit him, and it's very intense scene. This is actually brighter than what it is on screen, but it's
Hmm.
really
One
pretty.
of the things that was important also, because it's thematic throughout the series, is that there's the above ground world, which is like
Hmm.
Matt and Wilson trying to keep their darker below ground side in check, and the subterranean New York. And John's world is kind of in between.
Yeah.
But then, obviously later in the series, we do go to the darker side, and and that was a purposeful concept.
When you're designing for those the fight scenes and like the bar scene in the beginning when they're all fighting, how interactive is like the choreography with that, with like we need this bar to be smaller, or we need this, this layer to be wide open? Like, are you getting those type of notes, or are they just like dress it and then we'll work around it?
No.
No, many, many meetings, many, many scouts, and specifics are discussed beforehand so that it's ready for them to go in. We even set up on stage, or the stunt
Mm-hmm.
folks set up a mock-up of the room,
Mm-hmm.
and something will happen within the choreography that they do, and they'll be like, hey, we need an electric box or something right here to be able to have a knife to get thrown in and knock all the lights out. And we're like, okay, so then we figure out what that is and make sure it gets in the right place for them. And
Yeah.
there was a lot that went into that.
Yeah, fight scenes are a lot. And then you're always worried things are going to get broken.
And
Don't,
they do.
I know they do. They do. I'm
Yeah.
worried about it and it happens. Yeah. Oh, I got a little high on the murder board. And is this a location, or is this a build? A
It's
bank.
located.
This is a bank. But then did you bring in the art? Did you redo these panels?
The mural was there. Basically, when this script came out, I had the first thing we thought of was a Spike Lee movie called Inside Man.
Uh-huh. With Denzel.
That, and I thought that if we could get that bank, like that's the model, and I gave that to the location people and said, "Can we find a place like this or even this?" And they said, "Well, weirdly, this place is not that location is not being used." So we ended up going there and shooting in that same bank.
Wow. I really,
Yeah,
how do you get clearance on all this?
A little
we
complicated.
did.
I know the artists, I mean, like, or is it like public domain by now because it's older, or
No,
is it
this
not?
was actually created for Inside Man, and they put it.
Oh, oh, it's still there.
So
How nice.
yeah, and so we had to go through a lot of uh, channels to get permission, but we got it. We didn't want to really we didn't have the money to recreate it.
Yeah, it's a huge set. That's why I was like, oh, I think this might be a
The
location.
whole vault, when they go downstairs to the vault, that's all a set.
Oh, that to me was like maybe they went and did the vault and all the boxes on location, because that's a lot.
No, we built
Fits me.
the vault door and the room leading into it.
So how is um location scouting in New York for this type of show, when you're trying to show, like you were saying, like the energy of the city, but like there's still this grittiness? When you're selecting locations, what plays in your decision making?
Well, I mean, part of the energy of New York fits really well with the story of being born again because, it's since the Netflix show, it's become gentrified and it's changed. So creating a contrast between the new gentrification of the city and the older classic New York diner and the classic places that kind of are going away, and the idea that Fisk is going to be revitalizing the Red Hook port. All of that plays in really well with what's happening actually in the city.
Right. Um, what do you think, Becca, was your most challenging piece of set dressing, or most challenging set throughout the season?
Hmm.
A wallpaper?
Maybe the wallpaper. Um, Gosh, that's a really good question, and I never really have thought about it because you know how TV works. it's we're creating our stage sets up front, and then we start shooting. And the minute we start shooting one episode, Michael and I are prepping the
Yeah.
next episode, and that's just sort of on its own. Yeah, so it's
You're
just
doing
sort of,
films. I mean, the level of television that we people do now, they're films. I mean, you're doing a film every how many days does it take to shoot an episode? 9, 10?
It's
uh,
10, depends, but normally
yeah,
10.
10 days.
10.
You're doing a film every 10 days. I mean,
Yeah, and the minute one film is starting, we
already,
that's the day we start prepping the next ones.
yeah.
And
I would always think of Becca as like surfing on a tsunami, you know.
that's fun.
That's a great visual for a set
I did,
decorator. I do appreciate that.
it is, but it doesn't feel that way, which is especially working with Michael and the team that we had. It,
Your team.
How many buyers did you have how many buyers did you have?
I had I had two full-time assistants, and then I would have buyers come in pretty regularly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not. And it's like you said, and two, I always like well, you have 8 weeks prep, but the stage work, we're not going to get to that till 12 weeks in. But then
Right.
they front load you with all the location
We're gonna
work.
give you that.
Yeah, we're going to give you those extra 2 weeks, to dress the sets. And you're like, yeah, but I have 17 locations to dress between them.
Yeah.
So thanks.
And all the, concept meetings and prep
Yeah.
meetings, and then budget meetings and all the things. But I didn't see anything as being more difficult than the other. It all was it all was I don't have a set that was more difficult than anything.
Yeah.
Than Yeah.
No. Michael, did you have a big challenge on this, or did you feel like they gave you enough and prepared and money and time and
Yeah, I mean, to me it was all kind of what we do, you know.
yeah,
There was nothing that was insurmountable at all. And um part of that, I'm smart enough at this point to understand that if I get the best people around me, then anything is possible,
yeah,
and
Mm.
for whatever money it is. And that's what I had. I mean, I had and really it just makes my job so much easier. And without that, I can't really do anything. So um but it's working with the producers and Marvel and I mean everyone. The one thing every single person would say is like, I want a season 2 because I want to work with everybody again.
yeah. That's always great.
That's always great. Like when you
Always.
end and you're just go, okay, let's do it again. And
Yay!
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Becca was already on another project, so she couldn't. Because we never knew when they were coming back
Becca
for
broke
season.
up the band. What
I
the
know. I know.
Broke my heart.
heck?
I know.
Well, it is
I'll
true.
be available in a couple of weeks, so
It's true. You never know. Our lives are so, we're such mobile people. You never know. And work is, oh, I'm going to take this project. I don't know when the other thing is starting. That's one of the hardest things of our job is like fear of missing out. I think.
yeah, totally. And
Like,
between the strike and
yeah, you have to.
you gotta go.
So when did you finish this first season?
Spring of last year,
Last year. And
like right now, wasn't it? Around now?
So yeah, it's kind of a blur.
It is kind of a blur.
you're
I think
prepping season 2 now?
We're shooting
You're
season
shooting
2.
already. Oh, yeah. Well, then that's nice. I mean, also, I had read that they reshot some of the pilot and all, but how were you with storyline coming up? Like, were they giving we're going to have this coming up in episode 7 or 8, just giving you a heads up, like, were scripts just coming as you go?
you mean after we reshot some of the pilot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say, like, the scripts came promptly and always on time. And, um, you
Yeah,
know,
because you never, I mean,
Darius and the showrunner was always accessible for questions and,
that's all.
getting a little more information. I felt like it just was, everybody was so approachable and informative
Yeah.
quickly.
Because they're big sets, and I mean, I'm gonna watch the rest of this now because I'm invested into the show. There's
Yay!
big sets that I'm assuming you got to get some heads up on. You got to be aware of like, oh, this big location or this big dress, like, and
No,
some.
they were always well in advance with enough time, and not to say that things didn't change. They always change, when you're doing a series. But um,
But
we,
Michael, like, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh,
You would always like show them your renderings and always had responses right away of how they were feeling about certain things, and we could get that changed. And it was, I I probably said that earlier, but that was what I felt like was the beginning
mm,
of.
yeah,
oh, that's
no,
great.
we, I, I can't tell. Like, it was not flawless, but it was definitely really well organized, and
Mhm.
And that
uh,
helps us so much. Like you did, like it helps immensely in our preparation and going from episode to episode. Like it's really important. That's why I
yeah, and it but had the potential to be really unorganized because we had a 6-month break because of the strike.
well,
And, you know,
yeah. I
it could
mean,
be horrible, but
it didn't help anyone. I don't think this should
No.
help anyone. Um, I want to thank you guys. This was awesome. I'm invested in a new show because like so I'm so glad to have been able to talk with you guys. The sets are great. And
Thank you.
I love hearing all the detail for the characters. That's what like I just love all that.